Chapter number 11, ICAI study material questions. Under that, test your understanding 1. A company has approached CA Hammond for an assurance report in respect of prospective financial information of a project. On going through the project details, it is noticed that depreciation reflected on the proposed fixed assets to be acquired in prospective financial information has been calculated in accordance with the provisions of Income Tax Act. No disclosure is made in this respect to how the matter should be proceeded with. In such type of engagements, it is the duty of the professional accountant to see that prospective financial information is based on a consistent basis with historical financial statements using appropriate accounting principles. In the case of a company, historical financial statements are prepared considering the requirements of the Companies Act and depreciation is calculated accordingly. However, in the given situation, depreciation has been calculated in accordance with the Income Tax Act, which is not consistent with the historical financial statements. Therefore, it is not proper. The fact that the projection has not been prepared on a consistent basis with the historical financial statements using appropriate accounting principles needs to be stated. Further, when presentation and disclosures are not adequate, a qualified or adverse opinion should be given or withdrawal from the engagement should be made as appropriate. Next, test your understanding question number 2. Bansi Group is a leading institute running prestigious post-graduation courses in the field of management. Its financial statements are audited by an independent auditor. Before the start of this academic session, the board of the institute had outsourced its entire process of inviting students' applications, submission of applications, and collection of application fees, including late fees and such matters to Easy Solutions Limited. The auditors of Bansi Group want to be sure about the design and operating effectiveness of the controls at Easy Solutions Limited. What should be the nature of the report to be provided by the auditors of Easy Solutions Limited, specifically for use by Bansi Group and its auditors in this regard in terms of SAE 3402. In such a case, the auditors of Bansi Group want to be sure about the design and operating effectiveness of the controls at the organization, which is providing services to their client. Type 2 report is a report on description, design, and operating effectiveness of controls operating at a service organization. Auditors of Easy Solutions Limited should provide such a report giving assurance on these matters. It should also include details of test of controls performed and details of deviations, if any. Next, test your understanding 3. The management of S Limited requests you to accept an engagement to report on the compilation of a pro forma financial information to be included in a prospectus. In light of SA 3420, what factors you will consider regarding the company acknowledging and understanding its responsibility in this matter before accepting engagement? The company's responsibility has to be acknowledged for the following matters: adequately disclosing and describing the applicable criteria to the intended users. If these are not publicly available, compiling the pro forma financial information on the basis of the applicable criteria and providing the practitioner with access to all information, including when needed for purposes of engagement, information of the acquire or acquires in a business combination, such as records, documentation, and other material relevant to evaluating whether the pro forma financial information has been compiled in all material respects on the basis of the applicable criteria. Additional information that the practitioner may request from the responsible party for the purpose of the engagement. Access to those within the entity and the entity's advisors from whom the practitioner determines it necessary to obtain evidence relating to evaluating whether pro forma financial information has been compiled in all material respects on the basis of the applicable criteria, and when needed for purpose of the engagement, access to appropriate individuals within the acquiree or acquirees in a business combination. Next, integrated case scenario. Below is given draft text of the report on examination of prospective financial information of Top Edge Limited in relation to the company's upcoming project prepared by a staff member in a CA firm unfamiliar with drafting such reports. The report has been drafted in a casual manner and may consist of omissions and errors. Report on examination of prospective financial information to the Board of Directors, Top Edge Limited. We have examined the projection of the upcoming project to come up at Ratnagiri of Top Edge Limited for the period from April 2023 to March 2030 as given in the prospective financial information from page number 1 to 250 in accordance with the standards on assurance engagement 3400. The examination of prospective financial information issued by the entity issued by Institute of Chartered Accountants of India ICAI. The preparation and presentation of the projection is the responsibility of the management and has been approved by board of directors of the company. Our responsibility is to examine the evidence supporting the assumptions, excluding the hypothetical assumptions, and other information in the prospective financial information. The projection has been prepared using a set of assumptions that include hypothetical assumptions about future events and management actions that are not necessarily expected to occur. We have carried out our examination of the prospective financial information thoroughly. Further, in our opinion, the projection is properly prepared on the basis of the assumptions as set out in note number 1 to 50 to the prospective financial information and on a consistent basis with the historical financial statements using appropriate accounting principles. Even if the events anticipated under the hypothetical assumptions described above occur, actual results are still likely to be different from the projection since other anticipated events frequently do not occur as expected and the variation may be material. For PCK and Co. Chartered Accountants Signature Designation Membership Number. Based on your knowledge and description of the case, answer the following questions. Whose responsibility is to list out assumptions underlying prospective financial information? First option, professional accountant issuing report on prospective financial information. Second option, auditor of company issuing report on prospective financial information. Third one, management of the company. Fourth one, banker of the company. Option C is correct. That is the management of the company. It is company's responsibility. It is the management's responsibility to list out assumptions underlying prospective financial information. Next, which of the following statements is most appropriate regarding use of prospective financial information to be included in such a report? Intended use of projection is required to be disclosed. It is further necessary to caution the users regarding inappropriateness of projections for other purposes. Second, it is discretionary to state intended use of projection in such a report. Third, intended use of projection is required to be disclosed. It is not necessary to caution the users regarding inappropriateness of projections for other purposes. Next, it is prerogative of management to use report in the manner it deems fit. Option A is correct. Intended use of the projection is required to be disclosed. It is further necessary to caution the users regarding inappropriateness of the projections for other purposes. What should be language of such an unmodified assurance report regarding underlying assumptions? First one, positively worded to suggest assumptions are a reasonable basis. Next, negatively worded to suggest assumptions are not on a reasonable basis. Third, negatively, neither positively worded nor negatively worded about assumptions. Fourth, depending upon the professional judgment of the CA. Here, option B is correct. It is negatively worded to suggest assumptions are not on a reasonable basis. Next, which of the following statements is most appropriate regarding the examination of prospective financial information by CA in accordance with SAE 3400? Option A, accuracy of the projections is vouched for based upon performing procedures thoroughly. Second, projections can go haywire. It depends upon the professional judgment of CA to vouch for the accuracy of the projections. Third, accuracy of the projections is not at all vouched for in an assurance report on prospective financial information. Fourth, The matter of accuracy of the projections or otherwise is not domain of such an examination. Therefore, there is no reporting requirement under SA 3400. Option C is correct. Accuracy of the projections is not at all vouched for in an assurance report on prospective financial information. Next, which of the following statements is most appropriate regarding UDIN in context of the examination of prospective financial information by a CA? It is mandatory to state UDIN in such type of reports. It is desirable to state UDIN in such type of reports. It is not required to state UDIN in such type of reports as it is not an audit engagement. It is not required to state UDIN in such type of reports as it is not an engagement relating to historical financial information. Option A is correct. It is mandatory to state UDIN in such type of reports. Next, test your knowledge question number 1. A Limited is a fast growing and award winning SaaS software company which is headquartered in Mumbai. It also has offices in UK and provides cloud based professional services automation PSA software solutions to professional services organizations around the world. They want to engage you to provide an assurance report for one of its major clients over the controls it operates as a service organization. Can you provide such an assurance report? Assurance report can be provided under SA 3402. SAE 3402 Assurance Reports on Controls at a Service Organization. SAE 3402 deals with the assurance engagements undertaken by a professional accountant in public practice to provide a report for use by user entities and their auditors on the controls at a service organization that provides a service to user entities that is likely to be relevant to user entities internal control as it relates to financial reporting. It complements SA 402 in that reports prepared in accordance with the SAE are capable of providing appropriate evidence under SA 402. Next, test your knowledge question number 2. Discuss the significance of a pro forma financial information included in the prospectus of a company. SAE 3420 Assurance engagements to report on the compilation of pro forma financial information included in a prospectus. SAE 3420 deals with the reasonable assurance engagements undertaken by a practitioner to report on the responsible parties' compilation of pro forma financial information included in a prospectus. It applies where such reporting is required by securities law or regulation of security exchange in the jurisdiction in which the prospectus is to be issued, or this reporting is generally accepted practice in such a jurisdiction. What is pro forma financial information? Pro forma financial information refers to financial information shown together with adjustments to illustrate the impact of an event or transaction on unadjusted financial information as if the event had occurred or the transaction had been undertaken at an earlier stage selected for the purpose of the illustration. The pro forma financial information is normally used in the offer documents to demonstrate the effect of a transaction on the financial statements of a company as if those transactions had occurred at an earlier date. The pro forma financial information may take the form of a statement of P&L and balance sheet to illustrate how the transactions might have affected the assets, liabilities, and earnings of the issuer. They also include notes in relation to the significant aspects of the transactions, assumptions used to prepare pro forma financial information, and the adjustments made. The purpose of the pro forma financial information included in a prospectus is solely to illustrate the impact of a significant event or transaction on unadjusted financial information of the entity as if the event had occurred or the transaction had been undertaken at an earlier date selected for purposes of the illustration. This is achieved by applying pro forma adjustments to the unadjusted financial information. Pro forma financial information does not represent the entity's actual financial position, financial performance, or cash flows. Next, test your knowledge question number 3. Discuss the term pro forma adjustment under SA 3420. In relation to unadjusted financial information, pro forma adjustments include adjustments to unadjusted financial information that illustrate the impact of a significant event or transaction as if the event had occurred or the transaction had been undertaken at an earlier date selected for the purpose of the illustration, and adjustments to unadjusted financial information that are necessary for the pro forma financial information to be compiled on the basis consistent with the on a basis consistent with the applicable financial reporting framework of the reporting entity and its accounting policies under that framework. Next, test your knowledge question number 4. Discuss how a CA can be associated with prospective financial information without violating relevant provisions of CA Act 1949. Can professional accountants be associated with prospective financial information? Traditionally, the attest function performed by a CA in practice has been in relation to the historical financial information, recognizing the professional skills and the competence of CAs. Varied, varied stakeholders like banks, financial institutions, and prospective investors intend to place greater reliance on reports of projected cash flows and profitability statements examined and signed by CS. Clause 3 of Second Schedule to CA Act 1949, that is, Second Schedule Clause 3, states that a chartered accountant in practice shall be deemed to be guilty of professional misconduct if he permits his name or the name of his firm to be used in connection with an estimate of earnings contingent upon future transactions in a manner which may lead to the belief that he vouches for the accuracy of the forecast. The above clause does not preclude a chartered accountant from associating his name with prospective financial statements. A CA can participate in the preparation of the profit or financial forecast and can review them, provided he indicates clearly in his report the sources of information, the basis of forecast, and also the major assumptions made in arriving at the forecast, and so long as he does not vouch for the accuracy of the forecast. The same also applies to projections made on the basis of hypothetical assumptions about future events and management actions which are not necessarily expected to take place, so long as vouching for the accuracy of the projection is not made. Vouching for the accuracy of the projection is not made.